In the last 15 months, as India has battled the coronavirus and rising COVID infections across the country, one state that's been the focus of attention has been Kerala. That's because of the migrant population across the world that Kerala has had that it needed to bring back as India went into lockdown last year. The consequences of bringing them back meant that there were points of the virus surge in Kerala that happened at different points through away from the way the rest of the country was handling its infections. Kerala has had a health system that's been amongst the best in the country, and the management of the virus in the state has been something that's been much talked about in publications and media in India and internationally. Voters last month had the opportunity to tell political parties and the government of Kerala and the party running it what it made of the management of this one situation and the governance of the last 5 years. We know the results today, and it's resulted in a resounding second mandate for the Left Democratic Front, led by Pinarayi Vijayan, the Chief Minister. This is probably the first time in 41 years that an incumbent government is getting a consecutive second mandate to stay another term in power. To make sense of this mandate, to make sense of what it means of what it is a verdict on the governance of the government and the agenda for the next 5 years, we have with us Liz Mathew, the Deputy Political Editor at the Indian Express. Liz, thank you for making time for BloombergQuint and its viewers. At the preliminary stage, what you make of a result that bucks the trend of a state that's always known to say, we've had your 5 years and we want somebody else to run the next 5 years.
Yeah, it is. It is for the first time since the coalition, this combination of like UDF and LDF taking turns since 1980 started. It's the first time that a combination is returning to power. That too, actually surpassing the earlier. In fact, it was a wave last time. They won 91, and the Congress was in 42. Now they are almost closing to 100. So even the last wave they have surpassed. This is the first time in the history, and also Pinarayi Vijayan is the first chief minister in Kerala's history who's returning to power with a landslide majority after being in power for 5 years. Only it happened once, only in 1969, when the then chief minister returned. I mean, he was chief minister for a short while only. Then he returned to power in the next election. I mean, the party came back to power in the next election. This is, of course, like you, Kaushik, mentioned, it is an indication that how people appreciated how Mr. Vijayan has led the state during the two crises the state had faced during his term. It was the flood, unprecedented flood, the state 2018 the state faced, and also the COVID. And as we know, and we have been seeing in the media that Kerala is one state that, of course, the numbers were high because of Kerala's population is always moving in and out, so the number was high. But the state has managed, even now, that is one of the state which is really managing the COVID situation very effectively and very efficiently. And all those, the Shailaja teacher, the health minister, was a foot soldier. It was Pinarayi Vijayan's leadership which has actually helped the state to go through this crisis. There is because I traveled in Kerala from Calicut to Trivandrum. I have seen how people appreciated. I have also realized that how people really want a decisive, a strong leader as the chief minister. You may want people in your offices and at home, like people who can take everybody along. But when it comes to leadership, especially during the crises, especially women and youth want a strong leader, which they saw. I mean, and they saw that kind of a strong leadership in Mr. Vijayan. And it was actually held against the Congress party or the UDF, where there was ambiguity. Who is going to be the leader, even if the party won? The questions I faced, like during while I was trying to travel for election coverage for the Indian Express, I have heard people say that who would be the chief minister? Do you have any idea? whether it will be IUML, whether it will be the Congress. That also was another issue. And another issue here is, I think the minority, especially the Muslim support for Vijayan and LDF. Especially the young Muslims have seen the CPIM as a bulwark or as a force against the BJP's emergence in the state.
Hasn't that traditionally been the UDF vote that you're saying because of the rise of the BJP that might have switched to the LDF?
No, it is IUML is in Malappuram and area. IUML, of course, is a force, and it has almost kind of retained its dominance in that area. But the young Muslims, that is, of course, it was even in this area, like where I have seen in Malappuram also LDF won 1 or 2 seats. That is, and I have a feeling even Muslim men in Calicut and other districts, no other than Malappuram, also backed. Of course, towards the end of the campaign, there was a feeling that if the Congress is defeated again and the Congress weakened again, there is no force to fight the BJP at the national level. But that didn't work, that didn't work, and people did not listen to it. That was a kind of theme the IUML leadership was trying to tell its own cadre and its own people and the Muslims in the state.
Okay.
But I don't think they have heard it.
So the course of this campaign, I also wanted to understand, has he set out what administratively he will do for the next 5 years? In terms of, is it more of the same in terms of the schemes and the programs that the government already runs? Or is there an agenda that either via political messaging or via other means of campaigning, have they set out what the next 5 years in Kerala will look like, so that voters that have voted this government in for a second term, and those that may have also voted elsewhere, have a fair sense of what is likely to be the LDF's agenda between 2021 and 2026?
Of course, because the pandemic is still high and the state is actually facing a big financial crisis, he will have that as the priority immediately. But there were some infrastructure projects which have been pending, and GAIL and also a road projects, highway projects, which Pinarayi Vijayan could actually push it through. And I think people have seen Pinarayi Vijayan as a man who delivers, a man of development, who would not go by or even succumb under the pressure of the party's own pressures within, and the voices, the dissent voices. If he takes a decision, he will move forward. I think people were looking for and Kerala's politics is also seen another turn now. Kerala politics is not, as far as I remember, there is no freebie politics in the state. And unlike its neighboring state of Tamil Nadu, we don't the state doesn't have any welfare politics also like that. But this is the first time that people appreciated free kids. The people from north to south, everybody was appreciating, because they felt that was the free kids really helped them to strive to right through this critical crisis, pandemic era. Yeah. That helps. So I think Vijayan may have to continue that kind of thing, because otherwise you can't. And also the pensions, the pension scheme for women and also for senior citizens, he increased the pension. So this kind of welfare politics is also finding place in Kerala.
My last question is a little political more than administrative, which normally the administrative side and governance is what normally Bloomberg would focus on. But I ask this question because of trying to understand the roadmap, or rather the pathway or the runway that Mr. Vijayan will enjoy for the next 5 years. Going into his first term, or rather 2 cycles back, there were always 2 camps in the CPM in Kerala. One now, out of age, Mr. Achutandan, even from an advisory role, has retired at the age of 97 earlier this year from the state advisory council that he was heading. With that out of the way, and the second mandate, he already enjoyed complete control of the state party for many years. As a result of the left's complete decimation elsewhere in the country, and the practically blank that they've drawn in Bengal, a state where they ran for 33 years, does this mean that the national left also becomes Mr. Vijayan's party, because there is absolutely nobody else left now?
Exactly. And Pinarayi Vijayan is one communist leader. Even Jyoti Basu could not, after being chief minister for years and years, he could not implement this two-term norm in the party. He removed even the senior most. The finance minister Thomas Isaac was one of the senior most and the face of the another face of the LDF government. He removed him, and he removed senior most leaders from the party as candidates, and he replaced them with young faces. Although CPM does, as of now, they don't have a very strong second-rung leadership. Now Vijayan's challenge will be to build up a second-rung leadership in the party, and of course, at the national level, Vijayan will call the shots now, because no other state the CPM is relevant now, and the other leaders and their ways have not succeeded in winning the seat. In Bengal, Vijayan did not have any role, but Vijayan had a complete role, and the other group in the party is almost disappeared now. Now, with this kind of victory, who is going to question Pinarayi Vijayan, whether it is good or bad? He has become the unquestioned leader of CPIM now, at least for the time being. I am not saying whatever he's been doing and he's going to do is right and this thing, but that is the reality. The people, the cadre has appreciated what he has done. And lot of critics and also even I expected some kind of undercurrents inside the party because of the removal of these leaders from the candidates list, but it didn't happen. All those bickering faces will have to keep quiet now. They will have to see what Vijayan is doing, and they have to applaud him publicly. That is the reality.
All right. On that note, Liz Mathew, thank you for making time for BloombergQuint viewers to make sense of the verdict in Kerala and the nature of the mandate Pinarayi Vijayan gets for governing the state for the next 5 years. It will be a challenge, as we've noted, given the fact that Kerala is a state where, because of the movement, as Liz mentioned, the virus will continue to pose new problems over the next coming months, and hopefully vaccinations pick up to help us put behind one of the most trying times Kerala and the rest of the country is seeing at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you.